Hey, welcome everybody to our November 2024 Google User Group meeting for GEG Ohio. Happy to be able to learn with you guys here today. A little bit of housekeeping before we dive on into this. First of all, what is GEG Ohio? What are these meetings? These are typically monthly meetings where we get together for about a hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, depending upon how busy things have been with Google updates. And that's what we share. We take a look at what's new in Google for education. We look at updates. We also share some tips and tricks, take some question and answer time as well. Now, this is GEG Ohio, but if you're not from Ohio, that's okay. As long as you have an interest in using Google tools in education, you are welcome here. Thank you so much for being here. Whether you're joining us live or if you're watching the recording later, again, I just really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to be a part of this. Now, for those that are joining us live, please feel free to use the chat. I see a lot of people already doing so. If you want to introduce yourself, say hi, let us know where you're from. I'm seeing some folks from all over. We've got Canada, so we're international. We've got Arizona, we've got California, getting a lot of folks saying hi here. So I appreciate that. There's an Illinois. That's excellent. So thank you to everybody who is with us here today. Oh, and then New York just popped in and said hi as well. That's great. I want to make sure everybody can get to the resource document that we're going to be taking a look at here today. If you're, again, watching this later and you need to access this, or if you're here today and haven't pulled it up yet, the easiest way to get to our agenda documents, you can always do that at our website, bit.ly/GEG Ohio. That'll get you to the GEG Ohio website, and from there, you will find links to all of the agenda documents. If I pop on over to the GEG Ohio website and go to the monthly meetings link, and then scroll on down just a little bit, there you go. There's a spreadsheet that has today's meeting, November 26th, with the agenda link and the live video and so forth. So that'll always get you there. And then if it's convenient for those who are in the live chat, I'm going to drop this in the chat as well. Here is the link. So if you still haven't had a chance to click on it, just put the link to the agenda document in the chat there as well. Excellent. So this document is what we're going to use throughout this whole session here. Do note it is taking advantage of the new tab feature that Google rolled out to documents about a month ago. So instead of just scrolling, you also do need to use the tabs over on the side. If you don't see them, there'll be a little button up here on the top you can click to expand those tabs out. There are several sections. This is an editable document. If you are a member of our GEG Ohio community, you can edit it. If not, you can leave comments, which is totally fine as well. Couple of key things you might want to do. There is a section in here called upcoming events. If you know of any upcoming trainings or conferences that you'd like to share with the group, that would be a great place to leave something in the document. There's also a section called Show and Tell. And in there's a community portion, and that's a great place to share resources that you might want to share with the group. And there's also a Q&A tab. And if you've got questions, this would be a great place to put those, or answers. If you've got answers, that's good as well. So please do feel free to contribute to the document throughout the session, or hey, drop things in the chat. I'll do my best to keep an eye on the chat. I apologize if I miss things, yeah, hey, John just mentioned how he loves the document tabs, making technical documentation so much easier. John, I agree too. I'm getting used to it. I did hear one complaint somebody had the other day, and I haven't tried it out yet. Apparently, if you go to like download a document now, like export it as like a PDF. If you said, hey, I want to download this as a PDF, somebody said it only downloads the tab you're on. So I'm going to have to play with that and see. I haven't had a chance to test that out yet. Maybe if that's the case, I could see that being a bit of a frustration, and maybe that's something where they need to tweak that ability to choose if you want just the one tab or if you want to grab the entire document when you do that. But no, I've been enjoying them. I think it's a really nice way to be able to manage all the information. All right. Well, with that said, let me do a quick introduction. So, apologies, hadn't done that yet, but we're going to move on to the welcome and introductions section of this. So, hi, my name is Eric. I am an educator here in Northeast Ohio. So, I work for the Stark County Educational Service Center. Technically, I work for Spark. That's the Information Technology Center portion of the ESC organization. Basically, I'm a tech coach. I help support about 35 school districts up here in Northeast Ohio on using technology in the classroom with a focus on Google tools, as well as other educational technologies. We do have a few other folks who are part of the GEG Ohio leadership. They might pop in throughout the meeting. It just depends. I totally understand how schedules can be challenging, especially this time of year. But Stephanie and John and Sarah and Denny, all their contact information is there as well. All right, with all of that said, I'm going to leave the screen now and just make this go full screen here. Now the introductions are done. So let me pop that up a little bit bigger, and I'm going to take off our banner there as well. I don't think you guys need to see that anymore. Awesome. And we'll just keep on rolling from here. So after the welcome and introductions, the next section we have here is important links. The one that I want to point out is the sign-in form. So this is something I mention every single meeting. If you would like to get a certificate of attendance for attending this meeting, give a click on the link here for the sign-in form. That'll take you to a very simple Google form. Fill that out. And sometime between now and the next meeting, I will send out those certificates. I run an autocrat mail merge to send those out. Now, if you're curious, can you get a certificate if you weren't here live? What if you watch the recording? Yep, same thing. That's totally fine. If you watch the recording, you can also fill that out. All right. Next up, we've got a tab here on group updates. Just want to remind you that we do have an email group, a Google group that we use for communication in between our meetings. We've got 1,682 members in that group. That is fantastic. If you haven't joined our GEG Ohio Google group yet, I would encourage you to do so. All the directions are here for you to do that. It's just a great way to stay in touch in between the meetings. If you've got a question, great group of people to ask. If you want to share something really great, that's a great place to share resources as well. So please consider taking part in that. Next up, we've got a tab here on upcoming events. These are some of them a little bit more Ohio focused, but hopefully some of these will apply to folks outside of the Ohio area as well. I know some will. So a few things on the radar. FETC, that's a Florida conference, but I know a lot of people go to it. I'll go down to FETC and I will see people from Ohio that I only see at FETC. We always joke, hey, I got to fly all the way to Orlando to say hi to you, even though we live like, an hour away here in Ohio. So I will be at FETC again. That is in January. I do have a link to all of my sessions that I'm doing. If you want to give a click on that to check those out, I've got a pretty busy schedule there. As you can see, I'm going to be hopping all 4 days there. But if you are going to be at FETC, I would love to connect with you there. If you are going, definitely fill out our sharing document. So I do this for major conferences like ISTE and FETC. I do have a FETC sharing document linked in here. It's basically a document where you can fill in things like if you're going to be attending, you can go to the attendee tab and add yourself to the list of saying, hey, I'm going to be attending. If you're presenting sessions, you can promote your sessions there. As we get closer, the mixers and events and meetups tab will explode. There will be dozens of vendor meetups and stuff. That's where all that information is going to go. That's an excellent way to be able to know, well, what am I going to do each evening while I'm there? What's going on? There's a section for attractions and restaurants, a section for questions. And this year I added a new section called learning resources. So if you attend sessions on AI or Apple related topics or assistive tech, or you get the idea, whatever it might be, even Google related resources, these are tabs where you can fill in cool things that you saw in those sessions. I think, make it a lot easier for people to share resources that they come across at FETC. So anyway, just wanted to give a shout out to that. Let's see, next up, more Ohio related than that, OETC coming up in mid-February. I will likewise be at OETC. I think I'm doing 4 sessions at that. So if you're going to be there in Columbus at OETC, I would love to connect with you there. And of course, we got McCall coming up in March. That is not too far for a lot of Ohioans to pop on up there. And then another local conference is the High Impact Conference. This is the one that we do where I work at the Stark County Educational Service Center. We've got a June date for next year's, but here's the cool thing. So thanks to Matt Mays. Matt Mays is one of my colleagues there at the ESC, an amazing guy. Matt is fantastic. He has just added this information here to our upcoming events section. So here's the thing. Last summer, last June, we had the High Impact Conference, and a lot of the sessions, over 30 of them, got recorded. And we now have all of those recordings available in case anybody wanted to watch those. So if you were not able to attend the conference last year or last summer, or if you did, but you could only pick, one session at a time, and there were sessions that you missed, 30 of the sessions were recorded, and you can now follow this link here, which will take you out to the website. And here you will see all of those sessions that got recorded. Some amazing people were able to present and allow us to record those sessions. And what we've done is the same thing I do for my webinars, is there's 2 versions for every video. So if you come in here, you'll see there's just a YouTube version. If you just want to watch it on YouTube, that's great. But then we also have an Edpuzzle version, which allows you to get a certificate of attendance. Because with Edpuzzle, it's going to make sure you watch the entire thing, and then you'll get a link to get a certificate for watching that. So you got 30 different sessions you can pick from if you want to catch up on some amazing things that got shared at last summer's HICE conference. So thanks, Matt, so much for adding that into our document here. Fantastic. Good stuff. Well, that's all of the upcoming events I had. Again, I see some folks are adding some more in. Please do that. That's perfect. Do exactly that. So if there's anything you want to add, please put that in there. It's a great way for us to be aware of other events. All right. Well, at this point, we're going to switch on over to what's new in Google. And that's pretty much the main bulk of our meetings. We try to keep you up on everything new that Google has rolled out in the last month. So this time we're looking at the month of November, and it hasn't been real busy. You can see compared to some of the months, it's a little bit of a shorter list there. Again, I'm still not going to go through everything in the list, only the things that I bolded. So the ones where you see a bolding for the date, those are the ones I picked out of the list that I thought I wanted to talk about. Hey, if I skip over something though that you're excited about, let me know and drop it in the chat, ask questions, or just check out the links yourself. Every one of these have links so you can explore and catch up on those. Do note we are using our little key system here to let you know whether these things are part of the free version of Google for Education, or if some of these features are part of the paid versions like Education Standard, Teaching and Learning Upgrade, Education Plus, or if you need the Gemini add-on. So those are the ones that cost money as opposed to the free version of Google for Education. I did try to add those icons where appropriate to help differentiate those things. All right, good stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and start rolling through these. Again, please feel free, drop things into the chat. If you've got questions, if you've got comments, I'm going to do my best. I'm flying solo here today. I don't have somebody to help monitor the chat with me. So if I miss something, I apologize, but I'll do my best to peek over in there and see if there's any questions that we need to address. All right, so what's new in Google from November? So the first thing that I wanted to mention was that Google Vids is now generally available. It had been sort of like a beta, a slower rollout. Google Vids is now available But it does require that you have Education Plus. So that, unfortunately, I realize not everybody's going to have access to Google Vids. It's not part of the free version of Google. And if you have the paid AI upgrade, the paid Gemini upgrade, you get even more features out of Vids. So I've been a little hesitant to shout out a lot about Vids just because I know for some people it's not available because they don't have the paid version. Having said that, I do want to take just a couple minutes to give you a brief overview of, well, what is Vids? What is this all about? I took some time, I played with it, and want to make sure that at least you have an understanding now that it is officially out, what it is. So this first link is basically just going to take you to the update saying, hey, Google Vids is available now. But again, as I mentioned, if you scroll on down to the bottom, it'll talk how it is available for Education Plus. So that is going to limit to some degree who is available to access this. And then it looks like I have another, yes, they had 2 updates on that. So here's another one that's basically giving the same general information. So what is this? Well, let me go ahead and pop Vids open for you here real quick just to show you what it is. There's several ways to get to it. If I go to my Google Drive, for example, and I click on the new button, I have a Google Vids option. Oh, my phone just heard me, is trying to answer. No. That's the problem. I need to silence my phone when I'm doing these things because my Google Android phone always hears me talking and tries to answer my questions. So I can go to Google Drive, and from there I can say I want to make a new Google Vid. That's one way to get to it. Or you can just go to vids.google.com. If I could spell, that would probably help. vids.google.com. That will get you to the Vids site as well. And from there, you can use the plus button to create a new vid. So basically what this is, it's kind of like, I think the best way to say it, it's closer to an advanced version of Google Slides than it is a digital video editor. If you hear Google Vids and you think, oh, wow, this is a video tool. This is something like, oh, I don't know, Camtasia or something like iMovie or something like, I mean, just, there's so many of those out there, so many video editing tools out there. That's not how I would approach this. It's not something where you're going to record a half-hour video and then you're going to drop it in here and then you're going to edit it. It's more like a slideshow that is just supercharged with all kinds of neat multimedia features. This is much more like a slideshow that then gets exported as a video when it's all done. So if you head over to Google Vids, there are a bunch of templates that you can get started with. You don't have to. You can just do a blank one and just build it from scratch. But I'll just grab an educational one here as an example, just so you can see, like, I don't know, let's say we were doing a school year intro. I could click on that and it's going to show me all of these pre-made, and again, I'm tempted to call them slides. They're not. They're actually snippets, they're like, video portions, or well, we'll just call them slides, I guess. I'm sure they have a name for them, but they're kind of like slides. And so I could say, oh, I want to just grab the whole thing. I could drop the entire scenes. I'm sorry, they're calling them scenes. There we go. I could insert all of the scenes or just selected ones. I'll go ahead and insert all of them just so you can see. And this is basically what it does. It builds what looks it looks very similar to, like, I use Camtasia for a lot of my video editing. It looks similar. I've got an audio track. I've got, my individual scenes, as they're calling them here. I've got transitions in between each one of them. So yeah, well, the idea is now I would go in and I would start replacing content with my own information here. So, I would come in and say, oh, I want to replace this video with my video. Now I could hit record video and record my own, or I could say I want to select a video and I could upload one, or I could go to their stock media, and there's tons. They've got all kinds of stock videos I can search through. Or if it's not videos, I can do stock images. I can do music. I can do stickers. I can do sound effects. I can do animated GIFs. I can do images from the web. You get the idea. So basically, that's the point. You get this nice template to begin with, and then you can go in and replace it with you giving instructions or with videos or images or anything else. And when it's all done, and of course, you can, delete scenes and duplicate scenes. When it's all done, then you can come up here and you can export it. You can download it as an MP4 and you've got a video. Now, here's the thing. It's nice. It's nice. It is. It does a nice job. I've been very pleased with it as I played around with it. I will let you know though, if you happen to have the AI upgrade, if you have the Gemini add-on, oh my gosh, it is so much better. It is like light years different. So let me show you real quick. I'm going to pull over. Let me grab Vids on my other account. So I've got the Gemini upgrade on my other account here. So I'm going to pull that over. So if I go over to my other account and I say I want to make a new vid, look what I get, something different. And this really is, this is impressive what it does. So I could do the same thing. I could do templates. I could, just like before, but it's got this help me create option. That's not in the non-AI version of it. The help me create, I could just say something like, I want to describe this video, something like an explanation of the water cycle for, grade 5 students. And now when I hit next, basically Gemini is going to try to come up with an outline that would make for a good vid. And then if I hit next, it's going to say, well, what style do you want to go with? And you can pick, that's not important. The style can be anything you want it to be. And then you can hit create the draft video, and it's building the whole thing. Like it's creating all the scenes. It's finding video clips, it's finding GIFs, it's finding images, it's dropping in placeholders where I can put myself, and it's writing a script over here on the side. So as I go through this, you can see it's got a script. In each section here, there's a different script over here on the side. And I can leave the videos that are already in there, or I can replace them out if I want to. Spots where it would have the instructor speaking, I can put myself in that place. And I can just hit record myself to, add myself in there, or you can generate voiceovers. You can click there and the AI will read the content for you and add that in. So I tried that out. And if you guys want to experiment, in the agenda document, there's a link to a sample video I did. I'll pull it up very briefly here, but I won't play the whole thing. I will leave it to you if you want to see it. So this was one that I used the AI features for. So it's how a caterpillar turns into a butterfly is what I told it. So I'm teaching this to, some elementary students, how, explain how a caterpillar turns into a butterfly. And I let Vids generate the whole thing. I went through and I had the AI do the narration. Instead of recording my voice, I let the AI do that for me. And I did swap out a couple of the pictures. Like there was a few that I thought, oh, there's got to be a better image of a butterfly than that or whatever. But for the most part, this is very close to what the AI generated. I only changed it a little bit. So I'll go ahead and click on it here, and then I'll just play a couple of moments, and then I'll pause it. But here it is.
Hello, 5th graders. In this video, we're going to learn about the amazing transformation of a caterpillar into a butterfly. Butterflies are beautiful creatures that we often see fluttering around in our gardens and parks. But how do they come to be? Let's find out. A butterfly is an insect that has 4 wings, a long body, and antennae. A caterpillar is the immature form of a butterfly. It has a long, cylindrical body with many segments.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop that there. You guys can watch the whole, it's only like 2 or 3 minutes. It's pretty short, but it was nice. It did a really nice job. It created what I felt was a solid instructional video. Now, I make videos as part of my job. So I would say compared to what I would be able to generate, just on my own from scratch, I would say a person who knows what they're doing with creating videos, who knows how to explain content is going to make something better, but what I'm saying is I don't think I could create it as fast. And so it's kind of a balancing act there. I would probably say it needs to be a hybrid. And isn't that just the case with AI in general? I don't think any of us who are AI advocates are trying to claim AI should just do the job. It's that it's an assistant. AI is not here to do your job. It's here to help you do your job better. AI is your assistant. Think of it as a teaching assistant. You're still the one in charge. You're still the one who has to have the final say. So that I think I could see being really beneficial if I were able to go in and say, okay, let's have Gemini crank out a rough sketch of this video for me. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to bring my own personality into it. I'm going to record maybe my voice or my face, but then I'm going to add some of my own content that I think really helps us. And you know what? I'm going to delete that scene because that's not really relevant. I'm going to add this in. It could maybe save a lot of time, and I would still be able to create a video that I am proud of, something that I feel is truly communicating and explaining well. But maybe I've done it in, I don't know, half the time. Maybe I've done it in a quarter of the time. I'll tell you, this video, I did this very quickly. This was done. I mean, I would say maybe the whole thing was half an hour, but that's because I was learning it while I was making it. So heads up. I mean, now if I did it a second time, it would be way faster. But I was like clicking every button and exploring everything about it because I was trying to teach myself how it worked. So anyway, just wanted to, I know I went longer than I said I was going to go. I apologize. I mentioned I would just cover this briefly, but that's for those that are curious what Google Vids is. It really is two different products. If you don't have the AI version, it's great. But if you have the AI version, wow, it's so much more powerful. Either way, don't think of this as a video editor. Think of it more as the evolution of Google Slides. If you were to take Google Slides and really amp it up with multimedia and easily export a video from it, that's pretty much what Google Vids is. I will say this. Somebody asked in the Q&A, somebody asked, I think I need an Eric Kurtz tutorial on Google Vids. Well, I don't have one because seriously, folks, I am just learning this with you. I am not to a point where I feel confident to generate a tutorial on this yet. But Google did release one recently. They've got a 45-minute online course, totally free. So if you head over to that link, that'll take you to their Skillshop website, and you can easily go. This is completely free. You can go through this whole tutorial here that gets you going with using Google Vids. So I think that would be a really good place to get started if you're wanting to learn more about this. So, all right, awesome. So anyway, let me get back to where we were there. I'll take a pause and see if there's anything in the chat that we need to address. If you do have any other questions about Vids, feel free to ask them. I don't know that I can answer them because I am seriously still learning this right along with you. Looks like Peggy was impressed. She said, whoops, sorry, I missed the click. There we go. Peggy said, that's awesome. I am glad. I'm glad you like that, Peggy. That's fantastic. Let's see. What else do we have here? Caterpillar to butterfly sample, did you add a voiceover? So yes, for that particular one, what I did was I had the AI do that for me. If I bring this back over here so you can see, I didn't do the recording of the voiceover. I had the AI do that. So like here's the water cycle one that I was just showing as an example. I have an option here. If I want to use this script, I can just record myself. I can hit record myself and I can record myself saying that. Or I can hit generate the voiceover. And if I do that, I can pick the voice that I want to use. And there's like 10 different voices or so, and they've all got different styles. I think I used Friendly from the one that I went with. And if I go ahead and say that I want to, to generate that, it is now going to generate it. And it has now dropped that in there. If I hit play, hopefully you guys will hear it. Let's see.
Tiny water droplets bump into each other and form bigger droplets.
So there you go. And so that is the AI voiceover. So yeah, you can have the script say whatever you want, and the AI can read it for you, and then it'll drop it right into there as well. Yeah, exactly. Good stuff. Let's see. Let's see what else we have here. Said still use Google Slides. Very excited. We'll try the Google course. Yeah, excellent. Oh, good. And Peggy, thank you for letting us know that you can hear it well. That's good. I appreciate that. All right. Well, enough of that. Let's go ahead. Oh, yep. And if you want to use your own voice, absolutely. Yes. If I wanted to use my own voice on any of these, I could just come in here and say record myself. And there's a voiceover option there. And then, well, I'm using my mic at the moment, so it may yell at me because I'm already using the mic for this. But yes, I could just come in here and record with my own voice, and it'll drop it right in. Or if I didn't want to just do that, I could record also with my camera if I wanted to see me as well as hear me. All right. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right, let's keep on moving. That was only one thing. How did that happen? How did we spend so much time on one thing? But anyway, it's good. All right, well let's keep on moving. How about something everybody can enjoy? This one has all the emojis with it, so everybody gets to do this one. Speaking of Google Slides, since Vids is kind of like Slides, Slides did get a big update. So we now have Google Slides templates that can be used. So you've probably seen these, but if you haven't, this is pretty exciting. So if I were to go to create a new slideshow, so whichever method you want to use to create a slideshow, we now have this new section called templates. It used to be, instead of templates, I believe all we had was our themes over there on the side. But now we have this templates option over here because remember, if you clicked on themes, it was basically just a couple of like pretty basic color schemes. You could pick those and that would change the general color scheme of your slide. Well, now if we come down here to insert templates, we get this whole template panel. Well, what this is, it's very similar, very similar to what we just saw with Google Vids, just in Google Slides. These are pre-made templates that are for, particular use cases, like I'm making a scrapbook, or I'm doing a course overview, or we've got some PD that we're offering. Maybe it's a lesson, a science presentation, a book report, educational games, a lesson, a class project, a class overview. Well, I can click on something like class overview, and now I can see the entire template here. So all of these are pre-made slides that I can insert all of them, or I can just insert individual ones, and then I can modify them. So if I go, oh yeah, this would be great for my class overview, I can click insert all slides and give it a moment there, and there they are. Now all of those slides are here in my slideshow, and it's up to me to go in and fill this in with my own information here. Now, anybody who has used something like Slides Mania, this is going to be incredibly familiar to you because we've had tools like this for a long time. So I don't know if you're familiar with Slides Mania, but Paula is the lady who runs Slides Mania, and she is supremely talented with what she creates here and incredibly generous to make these available for free. This is the kind of thing we've been doing with things like Slides Mania for years. So if you come on in here, you'll see she's got, some recent templates, but then you can go into all of her templates here. They've got, categories. You can just scroll through all of them, or you can, drill into specific ones. It's pretty much the same idea. If I were to come here and say, okay, maybe I'll just search and say I wanted to find one that's, for like a class, maybe, welcome to our class. There you go. And so I could come in here and, say, sure, this one looks like a neat one. Give a click on it, and you'll see that, here is the entire template. And you can just say, oh, I love it. Let's go ahead and open this up in Google Slides. And you can use that template. And it's basically going to be the same idea. When this is all done, you're going to have, give it just a moment. It's there you go. There you go. And now it's very much the same thing. Now I've got, all these slides ready to go. It's up to me to go in and fill them in. So this isn't a new idea. Slides Mania has been doing this. Slides Carnival has been doing this. Slides Go has been doing this for a long time. We've had, so many amazing templates out there. Well, now Google Slides has them built right in. So insert menu, templates, and that'll get you to all of the current templates they've got available. My guess is they'll add more over time. And keep in mind, you can mix and match. You could say, I'm going to grab something from one template and I want to add something from this one template, into this other one here. So, I could come in and say, for whatever reason, it makes sense to have this slide in here, so you can mix and match. They're just slides. They're just individual slides, and you can mix and match them as you need. So, by the way, if you're curious about other ways to get templates, I actually have a document. Let me see if I can bring it up fast enough here, if I can find it. I've got a document where I list a lot of these. It's here it is. I'll drop it into the agenda. So I've got a document at bit.ly/Kurtz-free media, and that's where I list places to get all kinds of free content, including slides, templates. And so, let me go ahead and I'll just drop that in here just as an extra bonus on this. So let's drop this in here. More free templates. We'll just put this in there. There we go. So if anybody wants to check that out, feel free to. You certainly don't have to, but bit.ly/Kurtz-free media, that'll get you to this resource document. And it's just where I try to collect together, as much good free websites for things like, where can I get free photos? Where can I get free clip art? How about animated GIFs? How about, fonts and text, sound effects, music, videos? And then here's design templates. So Slides Mania, Slides Carnival, Slides Go. These are all excellent ones to use if you're also looking for excellent templates to use with Google Slides, in addition to the new ones that we now have available right here inside of Slides. Excellent. All right. Good stuff. All right. Well, let's go ahead and clean up all those tabs. You know how this goes. I'm going to wind up with way too many tabs open. Let's keep on moving. What's next? Next up. So Gemini is now available for teenagers in the education edition. So here's the thing. Gemini, which is Google's chat tool. If I go here and open up Gemini, so here's Google Gemini. This is Google's AI chat tool, similar to ChatGPT, similar to Claude or Copilot. When it first came out, it was only for 18 and above. And then about 6 months ago or so, they made it available for 13 and above, but only if you were on a personal Google account, so not a school account. So if a 13 and above student had a Gmail account, they on their own could start using Gemini, but not a school account. That has now changed. You now, as a school, it's still up to you. This is not automatic. It's up to the teachers to do this, or excuse me, it's up to the administrators to do this. Your tech people, your tech administrators can go into the Google admin console and can now allow teenagers 13 and above to access Gemini with their school accounts. A couple of key things though. It's not the exact same experience that you get as an adult on Gemini. There's a couple of links here. The first link is just the update from Google saying, hey, this is now available. If you do want to turn this on for 13 and above, you are able to do that. You can now do that. Then the second link, I would definitely recommend diving into this. This is a really good overview from Common Sense Media. So Common Sense Media, they produce great content. They did a deep dive into, well, what is the teen experience? How is it different than as an adult? And they break down all of the things that make it a little different. And I tried to summarize some of those. So here are at least 5 things. Maybe there's more, but there's at least 5 things that seem to be different if you're using a teen account, which, by the way, I did create a demo one. Let me pull it up here and we'll try it out here. I believe it was this one. Yeah, this is the one I was going with. So this one here, this is a pretend account. This is not obviously a real account here. But I set this one up as if it was a student account. So when I go to Gemini on this account, it knows I am between the ages of 13 and 18. So I'm a teenager. And if we compare it, this is quite a different experience than what you get if you're using Gemini as an adult. So for example, one thing is when you first start, there's an onboarding experience. Now I can't show that to you again because I already logged into it, but the very first time you sign up or the very first time you sign into Gemini as a student, you do get greeted with a video that you can watch. It's very short. The link is here if you want to check it out. It's just a quick introduction to AI for students. Another thing is there is a link to a Learn About Generative AI page that students can get to. So as a student, if I go down to the help section, there's a must knows for AI section down in the bottom here. Now, here's the thing. It's kind of hidden. So, I mean, I don't know how quickly a student is going to even know that it's there, but it is there. If you click help, and you click must knows for AI, this takes you to a page where you can again watch that video and you can get some helpful content about how to use AI responsibly as a teenager. So it's good content, but it is kind of hidden away. I don't know how quickly somebody's going to find that. That is not available if you're an adult. If you're an adult and you go down to the help section, you will not see that as an adult. Other things that are different, students can't generate images. So if I'm an adult and I say something like, create a picture of a cat on a skateboard, and then I'll do that on the student as well. If I drop that in here as an adult, it should make a cat on a skateboard. If I do that as a student, it should yell at me. Let's make sure it still does. Let's see. I can't make a picture yet, but I can find you one online. Where here, as an adult, I get the picture. As a student, no, it will not generate images. Again, trying to help deal with the potential of misuse of that. The next 2 things I'm not positive about. I've gotten mixed results with it. One is Google has a really nice double check option, which I know I've talked about before. This is not something new. If I said something like, explain the causes of the Boston Tea Party. If I put in something like that, yeah, I am really typing too quickly in there today, but that's okay. It'll figure it out. When I drop something like that into Gemini, it has this wonderful feature that I absolutely love. At the very, very bottom of it, there's this double check option down here that if I click on, it's not even working on this one now. Isn't that odd? Oh no. I was going to, I'll try this on my other account. That's so strange. So here, let's try it on my other account. I know you can't see this yet, but I'll pull it over here. That's the beauty of technology. Every day it's something different here. Let me pull over my other account. Let me see. Is that not working anymore? Let's drop that in here real quick. Okay, so if I put in explain the Boston Tea Party, let's see. No, there it is, double check response. That's what I was looking for. This is what I'm talking about. This is what they were, okay. Anyway, if I go to the bottom of a response and I click on the Google button, it says double check response. What it does is Google does a fact check. It basically goes through everything that came out of here and it gives you color coding. Green if it finds websites that support that content. Orange if it cannot find supporting materials or if it finds contradictory information. So that's awesome. And then you can click on any one of those and you can go out to that website to learn more about that information. I love that feature. I think it's fantastic. It's a great way to encourage fact checking and don't just believe everything AI says. Run this fact check on there. I do not know why that's not showing up on my my school account. That's really odd. Here's the point. It's supposed to automatically run for a student. So if I come here as a student and I put that in, according to what Google has said, you're supposed to get, well, double check is available. They were saying that it would automatically run. I have not seen it do that. If I click here and I have it do the double check, it's going to run, and that's great. But what I had heard was that it would just automatically run all the time. I have not consistently seen the double check response automatically running all the time. The last thing that I've noticed is this is kind of odd, but there is no chat history. So if I were to come here and finish this conversation and start up a new conversation, if I click new chat, it says, if you create a new chat, it's going to delete this one. And if I go, oh no, I don't want to lose it, over here it says, hey, your Gemini apps activity is off and your chats will not be saved. If I try to go in to change that, I can't. I have not found a way from the admin side to allow this. It appears that as a student, it appears there's no way to have a history of your chats. So I'm not sure about that. That's a little strange because I'm not sure what the danger is. I actually would rather have a history there so we could check things if we needed to see what. I understand it's more of a thing like, oh, we don't want Google holding on to things for, data privacy reasons, but that's the direction they've gone. So basically at the moment, it appears if a student is using Gemini, it holds on to nothing. There's no record of any of the chats. As soon as you leave a chat, it is gone. So I just wanted you to know, if you're thinking about turning on Gemini for your students, at the moment, these are what I believe are the restrictions or the unique features of it. There's a lot of tools. There's a lot of tools that are trying to figure out what is the best way for students to use AI. There's tools like School AI, Magic School, Brisk. All of them have come up with student-facing versions of the tool, where in Magic School, I can create a room that students can join and they can chat with the AI. In Brisk, I can make boosted activities where the students can talk to the AI. With School AI, I can create spaces they can join where they can talk to the AI. In every case, though, I can monitor everything. It records every conversation, everything the AI types, everything the student types. It's all recorded there. And I really like that. I like the fact that School AI, Magic School, Brisk, and others, they've built student-facing tools that have that added layer of, as a teacher, I can go in and read the conversations and see all of that. That I think is valuable. I know that's not an option at the moment here. Maybe it will be. This is perhaps just the beginning rollout of this. I would say nobody's got this totally figured out yet. I think we're all kind of figuring out what's the best way. But it would, at the moment, in my opinion, it's still pretty early on with what Google is doing for student access. But hey, I'm glad that they are at least moving forward in this direction. So I'm happy to see that. All right. Let's pause there for a moment. I know I probably rambled on a bit there, but let's see if there's anything over here. Taking a look. All right. Don't see any questions. I think we're okay. I'm just checking to see if there's any questions in the chat, seeing a lot of people commenting about how they like these tools, but I don't see any questions, so that's okay. Awesome. All right. Well, let's keep on moving. What else did I think would be good to chat about? This one, I'm not going to really spend any time on other than to say, hey, if you haven't used Google Scholar, which I can't imagine, I think most everybody's at least familiar with it. But if you haven't used it or haven't used it in a while, apparently it's its 20th birthday, I guess. Google Scholar has been around for 20 years. And so this is a really cool blog post that basically talks about 20 cool things to do with Google Scholar, 20 cool things you maybe didn't know about Google Scholar. So if you're not familiar with it, all I'll say real quick here is Google Scholar is an excellent tool from Google that allows you to run a search on peer-reviewed scholarly articles. So you're not searching the web, you're searching peer-reviewed scholarly articles. That's excellent. It's a great way to be able to find, content for a research paper or for research that you are doing. Well, hey, we've had it for 20 years, believe it or not. And so if you want to check it out, check it out. I read through this and it was pretty neat. There was a lot of cool behind the scenes things I did not know about that I learned as I read through that. So neat shout out to Google Scholar. Next up. Now this one is it's a rumor, but it's interesting enough. I wanted to put it on everybody's radar. So this is an article from 9 to 5 Google, and they do a really nice job of sharing updates and things about Google. They also will share things that are a little bit more like, hey, we believe this is what's happening. We heard about this. It sounds like this is something that's coming. And it's usually, it's not just rumors, like they've got, links and things as to where this content came from. But what we're starting to hear is potentially Google may be changing Chrome OS to run Android instead of Chrome OS. So like if you have a Chromebook, which many of us do, I've got several, Chromebooks run what's called Chrome OS. If you have like a Google tablet, you're probably running Android. So Android is the mobile version, Chrome OS is more of the desktop version. And the rumor is that they're talking about merging the two, or more accurately, replacing, phasing out Chrome OS and basically making it run Android. So a Chromebook would not technically be running Chrome OS. A Chromebook in the future, sometime in the future, would basically be running Android under the hood. That's what would be running. And it may still look mostly like a Chromebook, but it would have Android instead powering it. Now you may say, well, Eric, so what? If it's still the same experience, does it matter? Well, I don't know. Jury's out. I'm not sure what I think about this yet. Hang on tight, because there's another reason this is important we'll get to in a little bit. But it's an interesting thing. I'm curious where that might go. Like if Android is what's running a Chromebook, will we get new features? Will there be new things we can do? Because you can already run Android apps on a Chromebook. On my Chromebook, I can install Android apps. So I can already do that. So what new will we get? On the other hand, what I get nervous about is what might we lose? Are there features we're going to lose if it's Android instead of Chrome OS that's running the Chromebook? That's what gets me nervous, because sometimes Google's done that. They've said, hey, we're making a switch to this new thing. Take Google Sites for an example. So I love Google Sites. Don't get me wrong. Google Sites is great, but it had a major overhaul, like 8 years ago or so. I don't remember how long ago that was. It's been quite a while, maybe 10 years ago, where they released the new version of Google Sites. And they said, hey, don't worry. Everything you could do in the old sites, you'll be able to do in the new sites and more. Well, that wasn't true. The new sites, yeah, it did some cool new things, but there's still things today that the old sites could do that the new sites never got those capabilities. And so it's possible when they make changes, sometimes things get lost. So this is one to, let's just say, keep our eyes open for and see. We're going to come back around to this in a bit, because it does affect something else later on, but just wanted to make you be aware of that. All right. I am seeing some people starting to respond to this. David said, ugh. Michelle says, how's that going to work with Google admin? Yep. So there are some definite concerns, and I share your concerns on those things. Having said that, let's do this. We're going to go out of order, because I want to explain how this might be important later on. We're going to skip a couple of things. We're going to jump down to this article. The DOJ, you may have seen this in the news recently, has been working on an antitrust case against Google. So Google has been in a lawsuit related to having monopolistic practices. This happens to a lot of companies. That's a very, I don't want to say a common thing, but it absolutely happens. Big companies, in my lifetime, I mean, I remember when I was a kid and all of the big telephone system got broken up, into all of the different, that's how we have all these different, phone companies now, because Bell got broken up. I've seen this kind of thing happen before. Well, Google has been involved in a pretty big case related to them using practices that would basically, what they're basically saying is trying to force people into using their products and using the size of their business to make it more difficult for people to compete. So like if I, open up a device, is Chrome the default browser? Is there an easy way to switch to another browser? That kind of thing. You guys might remember, I mean, I think Microsoft dealt with this a lot back in the day when Windows, well, if you're using Windows, the Internet Explorer browser was just the default, and that became a big issue. Well, here's the thing, folks. At the moment, the current DOJ ruling is they are suggesting that Google has to sell Chrome off, that they are being requested to approve this, that they want Google to sell Chrome. So they would no longer own it. Another company would buy and run Chrome. Possibly Android, but definitely Chrome is what they're recommending. Now, is this going to happen, folks? I have no clue. This is the recommendation from the DOJ. There's some articles here. You can take a look at both of these. I've added in 2 articles here that go into more detail on this. I think we're talking when is the next step? Yeah, the next court hearing isn't until April. So, and then the final ruling isn't until September. So this is not something that's happening tomorrow. It's almost a year from now before the final ruling occurs. But here's the thing. If that stands, if Google has to sell Chrome, that may be a reason why they want to migrate Chrome OS to Android, because they might not have Chrome anymore. It's possible that Chrome would have to be managed by another company. Now, could they still use Chrome on Chromebooks? Of course, they would just have to work out an agreement with that other company to be able to license Chrome onto Chromebooks. But if they move it to Android before this happens, then maybe they don't have to worry about that. Now, they'd still have a lot of challenges by losing Chrome, but if they can have Android take the place of Chrome OS, that might be a step in that direction. I do not know. This is hypothetical. I'm not saying that this article that they're trying to move Chrome OS to Android and this article that they might have to sell Chrome, I'm not saying they're definitely related. Maybe they're complete absolute coincidence. Maybe if this DOJ thing had never happened, they would still be moving full steam forward with Chrome OS to Android. I don't know, but I'm curious. I'm curious if maybe that is one of the reasons why they're looking at doing that, so that they can maintain control over Chromebooks at that point. So anyway, just wanted to, again, get all of this on your radar. I know we don't talk a lot about that. A lot of times the things we talk about are, oh, look at this cool new feature. Well, this is a little bit different than that, but it's important to at least have it on our radar, to be aware, to be, keeping our eyes open for these news reports as they come out. So anyway, just wanted to share all of that with you guys. All right. All right. Well, let's hit a couple more things in what's new in Google. Let's see, what else have we not gotten to yet? So let's backtrack. We skipped over this one. You can now ask Gemini to remember your preferences with a memory feature. Heads up, this is only for people at the moment using the paid version of Gemini. So if you paid for the extra add-on feature, there's now an option to have Gemini remember preferences. So let me show you what I mean. If I grab my Gemini account on my personal account here, if I come down here and I go into my settings and I go to saved info. That's what it's called. So if I go to my settings and I go to saved info, you can see I have told it things. I live in Northeast Ohio. I work as an educational technology consultant with a focus on AI, Google tools, and other technologies. I can add things to tell Gemini, hey, don't forget, these are things about me that I want you to remember, so that when I prompt it in the future, it knows context. It's like, oh yeah, he's an ed tech guy. Oh yeah, he lives in Ohio. I can put as much stuff in here as I want. I can keep adding things. They give examples like, oh, you could add all of these kind of things to it. So basically whatever you want. I can delete them all. I can delete individual ones. I can edit them, but this builds like a profile of who I am so that I get better responses from Gemini. I think this is good. I'm completely in favor of this. I think this is a great thing because this way you can customize the tool for you. The thing I'm a little bit sad about is that it's only available for the paid version at the moment. I hope that doesn't stay the case. And the reason why I say that is because ChatGPT does this for free. This is just a free feature. We've been able to do this in ChatGPT for a long time. You can go into ChatGPT and you can, train it on your content, and it'll know things about you. So I'm guessing maybe Google's just kind of piloting it, testing it out, seeing how it goes with the paid users. I hope this would eventually become something that everybody would be able to use. Seems a little silly to have that just be a paid feature when it's free in most other tools. So anyway, just wanted you to know that. All right. And then we've only got a couple more things in what's new in Google. Next up, hey, how about this? New building blocks in Google Docs. And this is available to everybody. So hey, yay, here's one we all get to use. Now, we don't all have the same amount of building blocks. Some of the paid versions have more building blocks than others, but Google they have added more building blocks. Okay, what am I talking about? What are building blocks? Well, if you're not familiar with building blocks, if you go to the insert menu in Google Docs, there is a building blocks section about halfway down. And this is basically just little teeny templates that you can insert. So if I go to building blocks, I can insert meeting notes, an email draft, a calendar event, a task tracker, things like that. Here, I'll open up a new doc so I don't mess up ours. I don't want to mess up our document. So like if I go to a document here and I say insert building blocks and I go, let's do some meeting notes. It's going to, well, I guess I won't do that one because that's a specific meeting here. Let me try an email draft. If I say insert building blocks email draft, it'll create a little table here where I can fill in information to draft an email and then send it out. Other ones we've got, things like, a task tracker. So I can say who's responsible and what's the due date and stuff like that. So what's new? Well, basically, they've added a bunch more, and they've added a cool way to browse them. If you go to Insert, Building Blocks, and then go down to View More, this opens up a new panel where you can access all of the building blocks. So if I go to View More, now I get this panel on the side. And what I can do is I can just hover above them to see examples. So basically, these are the categories. They've got Featured, which includes meeting notes, email draft, and task tracker. But then they've got other ones. Communication. Well, email draft shows up there as well. They've got meetings. So there's calendar event, meeting notes, simple decision log, detailed decision log. Under project management, we've got task tracker, review tracker, team directory, project assignments, project assets, product roadmap, content launch tracker. Let's see, contact lists. We've got contacts, applicants, and sales contacts. And then under coding, we just have coding. And of course, you can build your own. You can make your own custom building blocks as well. But this is nice. They're expanding this out. I imagine they're just going to keep, I don't see why they wouldn't keep building it now that they've got this really nice, when it was just over here, when it was insert building blocks and you had to pick them from here, once that list gets above 5 or 6, it's just unwieldy. So now that they've got this panel on the side, they could add dozens, they could add hundreds of building blocks in here, and it's going to be manageable. So I'm looking forward to seeing what other ones they come up with that. And then the final thing, last thing that's new before we move on to show and tell and Q&A, the last new thing is Google had a nice blog post about some AI tools that are specific for learning. You can go to this blog post and read all about them. They've got lots of cool things they're mentioning about that. It's things we've talked about before, things like Notebook LM and things like that. But one of the cool things they mentioned is a tool called Learnabout. So this is a newer one that, I don't know, perhaps you've not seen it yet. It is now available. It has now rolled out. So I'm going to show you real quick what Learnabout does. So if I head over to the Learnabout link, basically it's going to look a lot like any search tool. You've got a spot up here to type in what you want to search for. It's going to feel a lot like Gemini. Ask it a prompt and it will do something. Here's the thing. What's different about it is I can come in here and I can ask it a question. So let's say, let me grab a question here. Let's do something like, what impact do I can't spell microplastic today. There we go. What impact do microplastics have on marine ecosystems? So let's say I wanted to ask this question. Now I can ask the same question of Gemini. I could go to Gemini and I could say, hey, tell me about this. And it's going to do a totally fine job. It's going to give me a nice overview, a nice explanation. Totally good. Nice job. Fantastic. Let's look at the difference if I go to Learnabout and I say, what impact do microplastics have on the ecosystem? It creates a much more robust, much more interactive, much more multimedia friendly result here. It's still generating. Let's give it some time here. So here it's talking about microplastics, what they are. Here it is giving me an interactive list. I can click on any one of these to dive deeper. It's now telling me why it matters. It's giving me related content that I might want to explore. It's got options here to simplify, to go deeper, to get images. It's got follow-up questions. It's got suggested topics that I might want to explore more. It's basically what you're getting from something like Gemini, but it is customized to really be a engaging learning tool. So it's more than just a quick answer there. So I could say, hey, this is great. You know what? I want to dive deeper into what happens if a marine organism eats some microplastics. Well, I can click on that, and now it's going to go a level deeper. And now it's going to generate, well, what happens if animals eat microplastics? And so now I'm getting, all of this. I've even got an interactive here. It's asking me a question. If I tap to reveal, I get an answer to that. And again, I've got related content and so on. So this, I think, is something that probably might just eventually get integrated right into Gemini. I could see that. I could see them taking what they're developing with Learnabout, and they might incorporate that straight into Gemini. If not, well, you could always pop over to Learnabout anytime you need something that's a little bit more detailed, a little bit more robust on the explanations there. Having said that, I see Google do this a lot. They'll create something as an experiment, because this is an experiment. If you look at the web address, it's learning.google.com experiments. So this is an experiment. I could see them developing this and then taking the things they learned from it and incorporating it into something like Gemini. So anyway, so that is the Learnabout tool. All right, let's pause there for a second, because I think that's the end of the what's new. We're going to switch over to show and tell and Q&A next. That's where we're headed next. But let me pause. That's been a lot of information. So I'm going to pause there. I'm going to take a little bit of time and look through the Q&A, or excuse me, look through the chat. If you guys have any questions or comments that I missed, I would encourage you to feel free to drop them in again. But let me look and see, is there anything that I missed that I definitely needed to address here? Let's see. Somebody's saying that they love building blocks. Well, I agree with you. I think that is a really nice feature there. Looks like a couple of couple of conversations about Microsoft Edge, so probably a little unrelated to what we're needing to pull up right now. So that's okay. No, I think we're good then. All right, it looks like we're good. I don't see anything in the chat that we need to address. So let's move on to show and tell. So show and tell is a portion where we share cool things we've come across recently. If you guys have something to share, please use the GEG Community Show and Tell at the bottom of this tab. There's a spot here where you can add your own resources, and feel free to do so now or later. Since we don't have my guests, my co-hosts with me today, I'll just mention that Sarah does a great weekly newsletter where she shares resources, and Stephanie has a great Google group where a lot of resources are shared. So you can join those as well. So what are my show and tell things? So I'm not going to go through everything here, don't worry. But a couple of quick things. Don't forget, I still do my EdTech links of the week that I do typically each week. You can access all of those. Then let's see, what have I been posting about recently? So a couple of things. Just yesterday, I put up a blog post about Bluesky. Now, I don't know how many of you guys are using Bluesky yet. It is a social media tool similar to Twitter, similar to Threads, similar to a lot of other social media tools out there. Well, I just did a blog post about Bluesky. So if it's something that you are curious about and would like to learn more, it has really been exploding in the last couple of months. There's been just massive growth. Like they're adding millions and millions of users to it. Well, that's cool. But what's nice is many of them are educators. I have seen so many educators moving to Bluesky. So because of that, I decided let's put this together. So I am not going to go through this. I would encourage you to do so, but this tells you all about, hey, if you want to try this out, here's what you got to do, and so basically how to sign up for an account, how to post on there, how to join the educator list, how to follow people, how to find awesome people, starter packs, which have, dozens and dozens of people in them, edu chats, feeds, the whole thing. This basically takes you through how to move the people you followed on Twitter, how to move those over to Bluesky. All of this should get you going if you are considering doing Bluesky, or if you've already joined, but you're just not sure, okay, I got an account, I just don't know what to do next. If you follow everything in this blog post, you will get connected with hundreds and hundreds of amazing educators, and it'll help you to start learning with them right away. It'll help you to customize your experience so you're not getting spammed with all kinds of stuff you don't want, but you're getting just the information you care about, because you can tailor all of that very well on Bluesky. If you do get on Bluesky, you can connect with me. Here's my profile. You can go there and you can follow me and connect with me on Bluesky. And they also have these really cool things called starter packs. Starter packs are where you put together a bunch of people all in one group. And so I did not create any of these starter packs. These are from other people. But since this is a GEG Ohio thing, I grabbed some Google and/or Ohio related starter packs. So like Google EDU pack number 1, if you go to that, this is going to be, I think, like 142 people that are, Google educators. If you're logged into Bluesky, you can follow individual people, or you can click a single button and follow the entire pack at once, all of them. Here's pack number 2 with even more. Here's one with innovators and trainers, and here's one with Ohio EdTech leaders. So people from around Ohio that are doing things in EdTech. So these starter packs, if you're logged in, you can follow the entire pack all at once, or individual people. So this is a great way to get going. I would encourage you to at least take a look at it. If you're unsure, this is a good place to begin. So far, I've been really happy with it. I have social media accounts on every service. I think it's important to try to meet people where they're at. So I do, if you go to Control-Alt-Achieve, you can go to my Connect page, and you'll see, yes, I have a Facebook account, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Threads, Mastodon, Bluesky. Yeah, I have pretty much an account on every single service because I think it's important to meet people where they're at. I will say, though, I've been really happy with Bluesky. Great conversations, really positive people talking about education, how we can use technology, how we can support each other. Lots of great stuff. So far, so good. We'll see how it goes as it continues to grow from there. I did see a few things pop up. Somebody was asking, is Bluesky free? Absolutely, yes. Bluesky is free. A couple of things that I would say that make it a little bit different, and who knows how things will change over time. But and I may get this wrong, so please correct me if I'm wrong. But so not only is Bluesky free, but it's, I don't even know if open source is the right word for it, but it's an open platform. So the idea is nobody can like technically own it entirely. It's like if it got shut down, somebody else could just spin it up on another server because it's an open platform. And because of that, it is way easier to customize it. Whereas some of the other platforms are more siloed and more locked down, Bluesky is much more about being open for developers to create really cool tools for it and to be able to interact with it however you want to. It doesn't have advertising on it. They don't do advertising. The way that they are going to, I believe, monetize it, they talked about having a subscription model if people wanted other capabilities or features down the road. But no, it is a totally free tool. You can use it for free. So yeah. So anyway, I don't know if there's anything else here. Oh, somebody asked about this. How long does it take the extension to migrate from Twitter to Bluesky? So here's the thing, that extension that is mentioned in here, if you go into the blog post near the very bottom, I mentioned how there's an extension called Skybridge, I believe is what it's called. Let me find it here again. There it is. Yeah. So Sky Follower Bridge. Sorry, Sky Follower Bridge. This is an extension that you can install and use to migrate from Twitter to Bluesky. It depends how long it takes. It depends on how many people you follow. If you follow, a couple hundred people, that's one thing. If you follow thousands of people, like on Twitter, I follow thousands and thousands of people. It took like at least half an hour, probably a good half an hour to pull all those people in. And then at that point, there is a button you can click that just says refollow them on Bluesky, but I don't know that that's the best thing to do because there's a lot of people that maybe you're like, I don't know if I'm not interested in that topic anymore. Why did I follow that account? So what I did is I went down the list and I one by one clicked on people. I'm like, oh yeah. I still want to follow them. So even though it took like half an hour to pull up the list, it took me hours to go through and decide which ones I wanted to refollow on Bluesky. And not everybody has a Bluesky account. All it's doing is it's going through everybody you follow and it's finding matches. It's finding, do these people also have a Bluesky account? So not everybody is going to be in the list, but those that are, I went and I individually chose who I wanted to refollow. So, all right, good stuff. All right. Well, let's go ahead. Patrick clarified because I apologize. I knew I did it wrong. Bluesky is federated, running on multiple servers. So that's a better term, federated. I appreciate that. That's good. All right. Good stuff. Kelly asked, Bluesky was hot when Twitter was purchased. Then all of that suddenly is blowing up again. Did something trigger that? Kelly, I would say yes. I think that a lot of the changes that have been happening with Twitter becoming X and some of the directions that Twitter's been going with that has fueled that a little bit more. I would say the recent, presidential election also had a big impact on that as well. So, all right, let's see, is there anything else I was going to mention? Let me clean up my tabs here, get back to there. Okay, so that was Bluesky. Anything else? Yeah, a couple more things that I would put in my show and tell here. I know Thanksgiving is only 2 days away, so it might be too late at this point to mention this again, but I posted earlier this month my What I Am Thankful for Turkey activity. If you still are looking for something fun to do with students, or even just as a family activity, this is a blog post I did from a few years back, updated a few things, but this is a free Google Slides template that you can create a What I Am Thankful for Turkey. Basically, you get feathers and you type on the feathers the things you're thankful for, and you add those feathers to your turkey, and little by little you build a What I Am Thankful for Turkey. And so it's a neat activity that is freely available if you want to use that. I have done a couple of webinars here recently as well. So I did list all 3 of those. I did a webinar on Google Gemini. If you just want to do a deep dive into Google Gemini, I did a webinar on using AI to support all learners. So that one's there. And I also did a webinar specifically on cheating with AI. So if that's been a concern, this one's called Did a Robot Write This Report? Managing AI Cheating. All 3 of these are freely available. Just follow the links there and you can watch any of those webinars and access all those resources. I also was on 2 podcasts recently and I put in the links to those. So that's it. That's all of my stuff as far as all of my new things. Looks like there is a link here. Let me go ahead and change the it's hard to read that. There we go. Looks like Thomas has added his Learn About thread on X. Oh, thank you. Fantastic. So again, I've only just started playing around with the Learn About tool, and Thomas was kind enough to share a thread on X all about Learn About. So you can follow that link to dive more into that. Well, folks, that brings us to our last portion, which is Q&A. Let's see if we got any questions. And then once we're done with the Q&A, we'll just do one last pass through the document and the chat and see if there's anything we missed. So this is the time. If you've got a question, if you've got a comment, if you've got a resource, this is the time to share it, drop it in the chat or drop it in the document. We already talked about the Google Vids online course. The other one that came in for a question was, what are some great CS Ed Week live events going on for students? So that I don't know. Maybe some folks can add some in there. Certainly Hour of Code is always a very popular one. Are there other more, others coming up here for Computer Science Education Week besides Hour of Code? I have to believe there's loads out there. I apologize. I don't know any off the top of my head to add in there. But for those that are watching, if you don't mind coming back and throwing in some responses here, please feel free to share some suggestions for that. Well, folks, I think that's it. So let's do this. Let's take a look at the chat and see if there's anything I missed. And then I'm going to look through our document one more time and see if there's anything we missed as well. Before we do that, though, first of all, I want to say thank you guys so much for taking the time to either watch this live or watch this recorded. Either way, I really appreciate it. I want to remind you that our next meeting is actually 2 months from now. With Christmas coming up and the holiday break and all that, things really slow down. There's not a lot of Google news that happens at the very end of the year. So we typically have found that when we've held a midwinter type of a meeting, it's pretty light. Even today, we didn't have as much content, even though we did go deep into it. So we're going to skip that. We're going to jump all the way up to January. So January 30th will be our next meeting. Here's the live stream link and the calendar link for that. Let's take a quick look down and see if there's anything else that got added in here. I think under upcoming events, somebody did add in the NCCE conference. Thank you for dropping that in. I appreciate that. And then was there any comments? I don't see anything new here comment-wise. Let's see. Show and tell. I don't think anything else popped in there. And Q&A, nothing new there. So let me look through the chat and see if there's anything I missed in the chat. Couple of more comments about Bluesky. David mentioned it being chronological, no algorithms determining what you see, and no ads. That's true. Yes. So you are getting a nice chronological feed. And here's the cool thing. You can customize your feeds. You can say, I want a feed that's just about EdTech, a feed that's just about Google, a feed that's just about whatever, and you can subdivide and go into those feeds. I really like that. That makes it easy for me to take the fire hose that is social media and kind of corral it as something a little bit easier. Seeing a lot of happy Thanksgivings, some thank yous in there. All of that is great. Well, folks, thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. And I hope as we head into the holiday season, whatever holiday season you're heading into, I hope you get some downtime. That's what I'm looking for. I'm excited to have things slow down a little bit, get some time with family and my grandkids and friends, and kind of get rested up. So whatever is ahead of you in the upcoming months, I hope it's great, and I look forward to seeing you again at the start of next year. So take care, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us.